In this neighborhood, a beautiful day for our neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood. A neighborly day for our beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in this neighborhood with you, so let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor? Hello, television neighbors. Glad we're back together again today. I got 3 things I would like to show you. The paper that says Mark Wahlberg, Walt Disney Pictures presents Invincible. Also, I have the book, 2 of the booklets of both Elton John, Rocket Man, and Number 1, and also Elton John's Greatest Hits, 1970 to 2002. Now, before we go visit my dear friend Andy Cleese at the neighborhood fifth grade science school. We have just enough time for some make-believe before we go visit the 5th grade science school. So, Charlie, last time in the neighborhood of make-believe, we were pretending that Charles R. Aber was having a science meeting with King Friday, Queen Sarah, and Prince Tuesday. So let's pretend that Charles R. Aber has some advice for the king and queen. And also later this week, we will be pretending that Charles R. Aber is gonna be filmed on camera to test his knowledge of H2O. So let's think some more about that now as the trolley goes into the neighborhood of make-believe. Right, trolley? Okay. Charles R. Aber, renowned scientist of other teachers, I presume.
Well, yes, Your Highness. It is I, Charles Aber. So good to see you again.
Now tell me, young man, what are you going to show my son, Prince Tuesday, about the chemical elements of H2O?
Well, Your Highness, actually I was thinking that perhaps today would be a good time to talk about the right way and the wrong way to make friends with somebody the age of your son. I'm thinking that we could use what happened with Victor yesterday as an example of how to make friends the right way and how to make friends the wrong way.
Oh, that is a very good thought.
Okay. Now, if you, King, would be so kind as to simply allow Victor, the host of VSN, to take your place, we can start the chat. It was so good to see you again.
Yes. Well, we'll have to excuse young Victor until later on.
Okay, so actually now, Victor, I think it's time for us to talk. So you had yesterday an experience at Chamisol, huh?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to tell us what happened?
Well, I was trying to make friends with a little girl.
And what happened?
I sort of blew it.
Oh, how did you blow it? Making friends is pretty easy.
I was holding this child on my lap.
Oh, so did you ask her parents if you could hold her on your lap or play with her in any way?
I guess that slipped my mind.
Oh, well, you know, for probably the last 15 years, that's how you have always made new friends at Chamisol, huh?
Yes.
So, what is the rule for making a new friend of a very young person?
To always ask the parents.
And you've done that for many, many years. Do some parents say, no, no thank you?
Yes,
Okay.
they sometimes say that.
And when that happens, what do you do?
I just say, well, that's fine if their child does not want to play with me.
Okay, and sometimes the parents say, sure, you can play with my child, huh?
Yes.
And when that happens, what typically do you do with the child when you're playing with the child and making a new friend? Give us some examples of things you do.
Well, first of all, I should go tell the child's parents first and ask them, hey, I'm make best friends with your daughter,
Uh-huh.
and if they say no, then I'll just let them be.
Right, but when they say yes, you can play with my daughter, then what kinds of things do you do at Chamathal?
Well, I take them for a ride on my bag.
Uh-huh, that's fine. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, so a ride on your back, maybe sometimes on your shoulders?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the kids love that, huh?
Yes.
Do you sometimes play with the squirt guns?
Yes.
Uh-huh. How about with the balls? Do you sometimes throw balls?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, and yesterday, instead of asking the parents if you could play with the little girl, you just sat down beside her, huh?
Yes.
And you started to play with her even though you hadn't asked the parents. Huh.
Yeah, I forgot
And
that.
then what happened when the parents saw that you had their daughter on your lap?
They got mad.
Mm-hmm. And so then after we went down to the office in Chamisol, we sat and waited for a while, huh?
Yes.
And did you see the father of the child?
Yes, I saw the father.
Mm-hmm. And was he upset?
Yes, he was very upset.
Uh-huh. And so that's what happens if you don't ask a parent if you can play with their child, huh?
Right.
So that's the wrong way to make a new friend, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you learn anything from yesterday?
Yes. I learned not to touch any child without asking permission.
Mm-hmm. You actually already knew that, didn't you, before yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, and so what did you learn from yesterday?
To ask the parent.
You know, because they can get pretty angry, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's a valuable lesson for your television neighbors, to know that if you want to play with a small child, you should always ask the parents before you even think about playing with the small child, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Well, I think we're about out of time. So if you have any last minute things you'd like to say to your audience, you can do so now.
Now it's time for us to go visit my.
Well, it's time to wrap it up. That was the end of the episode. So say your farewells.
Bye.